Welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about 10 differences between Kenya and the UK that I've noticed after moving here. So for starters, the first time I came to the UK was last year 2022 in August, and I was here for I think it was 4 weeks or 5 weeks. And then the second time I came here was in December of 2022, and I was here for 6 weeks. And then I traveled here again in August of 2023, so I'm currently still here. So it's been August. Right now it's in October, and cumulatively after all that time, I'd say there's some things that I've noticed between Kenya and the UK. Some of them are quite obvious, and some of them I'd say are quite distinct. Before we get started, just a quick geography map thing, because I love maps and I love the world in general. That's why I actually have a map of the entire world in my office, which I will show you. It's on my left side. Yeah, maybe you'll see that in other videos, but yeah, in general, Kenya is, let's say, 2 times the size of the UK. So Kenya is huge, and the UK comprises of 4 countries. It took me forever to learn this. Sometimes I even get confused, but basically the UK, the United Kingdom, or is it Britain? I honestly don't even know. The UK has England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. For some reason I kept thinking Ireland is part of the UK. Apparently it's not. Go and read about it. But yeah, these 4 countries form the United Kingdom. I stay in Scotland, and I've been to England a few times. I've not been to Northern Ireland. I've not been to Wales yet. So a lot of these differences are things I've noted from Scotland and England. Yeah, you can see how confusing it can be. But anyway, so when I talk about the UK, basically I'm talking about Scotland mainly, but also maybe some things in England. But all these differences are the same, I think, across all the countries. Enough of the background. Number 1, it's very cold in the UK. Yes, it's very cold. Luckily I was here in December last year, and I was able to experience the winter, so I think that prepared me for the cold. But yeah, it's very cold, and surprisingly many people in the UK don't know, that I've spoken to, don't know that Kenya doesn't have seasons. In Kenya we only have 2 weather seasons. There's the sunny season and there's the rainy season, nothing else. And basically January, February, March, that's sunny. End of March, April, May, and a bit of June, that's the long rain season. And then July, August, that's when we call our Kenyan winter, which is just temperatures between 16 degrees to 22 degrees. Yeah, that time it's very cold. We are carrying jackets. We are trying to be warm. So that is our winter. And then September, October, usually that's supposed to be like the short rains, so it doesn't rain that much. And then again, December, it might rain, it might not, but then back to sunny. And that's it. It's consistent throughout the year. It never gets very cold, maybe in very specific areas close to mountains, that is Mount Kenya, and close to Mount Elgon, and maybe the Aberdares. That's where you'll find temperatures that can drop to, let's say, 0, because these are high mountains, above 4,500 meters high, so it makes sense. But that's a very, very small area where you can find such temperatures. Everywhere else, very consistent temperatures. 18, I'd say 18 to, it really never goes up beyond 30. But if you go to the northern parts of Kenya, now that is more desert areas, that's where you get like 35 degrees Celsius, 40 degrees. And if you go to the southern coast, it's anywhere between 28 and 35, and then it's very humid. So I'd say that is the general concept of temperature and weather in Kenya. While for the UK, it tends to be quite similar, all the 4 countries. But they say it's colder in Scotland. That's why I have a grumpy voice, because I've been coughing for the last, I don't know, maybe 4 weeks now. Yeah, that is the longest cough I've ever had in my life. But yeah, the cold is sort of getting into me. But anyway, yeah, the UK is very cold. It's very cold. Even people in the UK complain about how cold it is. So I think I'm allowed to complain about how cold it is. Currently the temperature is 9 degrees Celsius. I've never seen this in Nairobi in my life. So that paints the picture. And it's gray and gloomy. I thought there will be some sun. There's no sun today, so yeah, the weather outside looks gloomy. But the one thing about the UK I'd say is it rains a lot, which honestly, if just a quarter of all that rain was moved to Kenya or even Africa, I think you'll never hear of anyone die of hunger ever again. But yeah, here it rains a lot, like crazy. It rains so much, and that is number 1. If you hear some random noise in the background, that is my server that is backing up files, so it has some buzz, which I don't think I'll be able to remove that sound if it's very loud. And actually that's a good segue to my number 2 point, which was supposed to be number 4, but let me say it's number 2. It's very quiet. Like in the UK, it's very quiet compared to Kenya, where if you walk in the streets of Nairobi, you hear all sorts of sounds. There's matatus with loud music, there's motorbikes with, again, loud music, loud exhaust pipes. Matatus have loud exhaust pipes. Even if you go to the town center, there's businesses all playing music. Some have even speakers outside. So basically it's very, you'd say it's very loud. To me it's normal, but you won't notice it until you move to a country where it's, you know, quiet. But yeah, in the UK it's very quiet. Like even right now, I'm in the house, but the only sound I can hear occasionally is cars passing by, and now my server that is backing up making noise. But usually it's very quiet. In fact, I've never even had a child cry in the UK. I rarely see children playing, so I don't know where they play, or I don't know if they just sit in the house and play. So yeah, that is something you quickly notice, because in Kenya it's loud. Even in the estates, like where I used to stay, recording this video, I have a video like this where I'm seated in front of a camera will annoy me, because there'll be like 30 kids outside, you know, downstairs, all shouting, playing football, some crying, all, you know, kids being kids. But yeah, I kind of never see, I've never seen that here yet. So, and I'm not going to be like looking for playgrounds to see where kids are playing. But yeah, it's quite different. It's very quiet. Even when you go to the town center, I'd say it's still quiet. Yeah, you almost never hear any sounds apart from, let's say, the trams, the trains moving, and the sound of the train. And even in London, I'd say when I was there, I've been there I think 2 or 3 times, it's the same thing. You might think it's very loud, but it really isn't. Maybe in the evening when there were like bicycles which will put some music on, but which are touristy things. But yeah, during the day, yeah, it's very quiet. I've said quiet so many times, but it's true. It's something you will notice. Maybe, you know, if there's any other Kenyans or people from the UK who have been to Kenya, you can tell me what you think in the comment section. Moving on to number 3, there's a very wide range of accents. Now, this doesn't make sense to me, or rather, I am here to understand how that has come to be. Again, for example, in Kenya, you know, almost everybody has a tribe, so they speak their mother tongue, and then they speak Swahili, and how they speak Swahili usually is influenced by their mother tongue, and then on top of that they speak English. So your English is also influenced by Swahili and mother tongue, mostly mother tongue. Therefore, people from central Kenya will have a way of speaking their English which is sort of different to how people will speak in, let's say, western Kenya or even the southern coast. Therefore, how someone speaks English, you can tell where they are from. But this is influenced by the mother tongue. But for the case of the UK, I don't understand it, because let's say for England, everyone speaks English. English is their first language. And for most people, that is their only language. I cannot really understand how they've come to have so many different accents. And considering also it's a very small country, it's quite, I'd say it's something maybe I need to research on, because for Scotland, it can make sense, the people who will speak the Scottish language, therefore that will influence how they speak English. The same will apply for Wales and also for Northern Ireland, where they speak Irish, I think. I hope I'm not wrong on that. But yeah, for England, there's so many different like accents. They're all speaking English, but with different accents, so I don't understand how that has come to be. So So maybe that's something I should research on. Or I don't know if it can be an influence of, I don't know, maybe music or even class, let's say people from upper class or people from like middle class and whatever. Because the same logic can apply also in Kenya. Let's say people from Westlands, how they speak their English or even their Swahili will be different from how people from me, like me from Eastlands, will speak our English, because we had influence of, let's say, a lot of reggae music and a lot of maybe, let's say, Lingala music, while someone from, let's say, Westlands will have a lot of influence from, let's say, a lot of hip hop and listening to or watching a lot of American movies. So maybe that will also influence how they speak. But yeah, I don't know. Or maybe the way kids currently are being influenced by watching things like Peppa Pig, where they have this like very, I hear it's called posh English accent, or watching other, TV programs. Yeah, so clearly I don't know how that has come to be, but yeah, it's quite fascinating, which is something I think I should read on. Moving on to number 4, and that is people smoke everywhere and almost anywhere. Until I came to the UK, I almost forgot that people smoke. For context, Kenya banned smoking in public in the year 2007, or it was 2006. So what happened is the government created designated smoking zones. So that is places you'll go and smoke in public spaces. If you can smoke in your own house, nobody cares. But in public spaces, you had to be at a specific point. And if you were walking around and you were caught smoking, they charge you a fine of like, how much was it? I think it was like 2,000 shillings or 3,000 shillings. So that's like 20 pounds, which was a lot of money then, 2007. And even now, I'd say it's still a lot of money to be just charged, because of smoking. And that sort of made smoking disappear, because you will almost never see anyone walking and smoking. And I think at the back of my mind, because I don't smoke, I almost forgot that is something that happens. Because even if you go to clubs in Kenya, there's a time people used to smoke shisha, but that was also banned. So yeah, it created these zones where people smoke, and then because it's like in a different area, you almost forget about it. But yeah, when I came to the UK, I was like, actually I was working in London, and then the smells of cigarettes kept hitting me, and I'm like, there's something off, which I can't really pinpoint what's happening. And then later on, I think that's when I noticed, oh yeah, it's people smoking. Because again, there's the cigarettes and then there's the vaping. So vaping is also very common. I've never seen so many vapes in my life until I moved here. Actually, I don't think I ever saw anyone vape even. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, it's one of those differences which you just notice it over time, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's a big difference, especially since also there's more of a stigma with smoking in Kenya. Like, it's not something you show off or be proud of really. So you just do it in your house and keep it to yourself. But here people smoke almost everywhere. So yeah, but currently I think in the news I've seen stories about the UK government wanting to ban smoking. So I don't know if they want to ban smoking outright, but yeah, maybe they should copy the Kenyan version, which is, instead of banning it, just restrict it to certain designated areas. Because yeah, you don't want to go to a restaurant and someone is smoking, or even in a mall where you can see someone vaping. But yeah, quite another difference. Yeah, my voice is going because of the coughing. This is an advantage and also a disadvantage in some ways, but you have to book or pre-book almost everything, which it can be very annoying. For government services, I'd say it makes sense for you to need to book to get a service. But for something like healthcare, I don't think I really need to book. I should be able to just show up and get treated, which is what I'm used to, or what I've been used to in Kenya, where any issue, you'll just be like, let me go to the hospital, and you might have to wait for like 3-4 hours, but you will still be assisted. While the difference here is you have to book something, and currently I have a dental booking because I have a bad tooth, which I think it needs extraction, or either it needs to be filled, like whatever the dentist say. But yeah, it's currently today is 26th of October, and my booking is on the December, I think the 15th, something like that. So yeah, I'd say that is crazy. Yeah, because in Kenya I will just have walked in somewhere and be like, pay £3, have the tooth removed, and I'm out very quick. No booking, no call, nothing. And also other services, let's say you want to go to restaurants, several of them you have to book unless you want to just eat not really street food, but you want to eat fast foods. All other restaurants, even bars, apparently you have to book, which personally I think that is a bit of a stretch. Like, imagine doing all that booking and all that, then to go there and the food is just mediocre. Like, I don't know, to me booking usually puts a premium to something, so the moment I have that premium mentality on something and then I get disappointed, I just feel like, what was the point of that booking? But yeah, as they say, when you go to Rome, do as the Romans do. So yeah, I have to do all the bookings whenever possible. Otherwise, I'll just end up eating at McDonald's. On the flip side of the booking, another difference between Kenya and the UK is the service in the UK is very fast. A lot of things have to be done by mail. So getting the driving license, getting my, what's it called, British residence permit, something like that. Almost everything is done by mail, but it's very, very fast. Like, they'll tell you it will take 7 days, but usually it takes like 2-3 days and, you get whatever you need. So I'd say that is quite a good service. Unlike in Kenya, where some things, you can also book, but then the service will take you. Like, for example, I applied for my Kenya police clearance certificate in, I think it was May of this year. Until today, I have no idea whether they've processed it or not. No, actually, no, they haven't processed it, because I keep asking and actually nobody even answers. So yeah, the service here is very fast, and it stretches not only from like government places, but even if you go to like restaurants, when you order food, within like 2 minutes your food is ready. 2 minutes is even a lot. But yeah, this service is very quick. The downside of that, to some extent, but not really the service itself, but the people speak very fast. The people serving you, they speak very fast. So if you're not like attuned to the accent, it can be very, very intimidating in some ways, because someone will be like, hi, how are you? And I'm just there like panicking, like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do here? Like, I didn't even hear 3/4 of what you're saying, but I already have a menu and all this I'm supposed to order. I'm like, oh geez, this is so stressful. So like, yeah, it makes me feel like sometimes I just want to sit in the house and order things in the house, because yeah, I sometimes feel very anxious when I go to outdoor places, not just even restaurants, even like the other day I went to do a not a photo shoot, but take like a passport photo, and then I go, hi, how are you doing today? What type of passport photo will you like? I can't even speak as fast as they do, but yeah, it's like quick. So by the time my mind is processing the first 2 lines, she's already on the prize and I'm completely lost. I'm like, oh, okay, calm down. What did you say? So I think I found the solution to that is me sort of controlling the service more, like, oh, she's saying all these things, but I'll be like, I'll ask the question that I want to ask to understand what's happening. And yeah, sometimes it works out well. Sometimes someone is just looking at me like, did you not hear what I said? So yeah, that is quite a difference. Again, in Kenya, service is not very slow. Like in restaurants, it would be very slow, but yeah, you will notice that difference. Well, there's some restaurants where they'll have to make everything from scratch, so you will have to go there, take some sodas, or if you drink, you'll have to take some beers, and then just chat and wait for 2 hours for your full chicken to be made from scratch. So again, quite a difference that you'll notice. Number 7, I think it's number 7. I think I've lost count of the numbers because I kept mixing my notes. But yeah, number 7 is, which people from the UK maybe might not be happy about, is there's less fresh food here. The fruits here are terrible. I'm sorry guys, but the fruits here are, yeah, if you want to argue with me on that, please visit Kenya, or well, I don't know about other countries, but yeah, visit Kenya. Order something like a mango, an orange, an avocado, watermelon, any fruit, even bananas. Order any fruit and you will see the difference in the taste. Like the taste here of, let's say, an orange, out of 100%, I'd say the taste here is at 60%, while the Kenyan one is at 100%. And this applies mostly on fruits. On other things, I wouldn't say the difference is so big. Things maybe like meat, again, you will notice the difference, because the meat in Kenya has a lot of blood, which gives it a certain, strong taste. while here the meat is, I don't know how to describe it, maybe dried out or very well washed. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. So yeah, it's quite a difference in the taste. Therefore the taste is quite, I refer to it as muted, where it's not there, like it's almost there, but it isn't. There's something like missing or lacking in it. So yeah, that's also another difference, where the foods here, the foods are good, but the taste is, yeah. Yeah, that can be a bit controversial, but yeah, good thing I'm not famous, so nobody's going to bash me. So yeah, another difference. But on the positive side, when it comes to food, that leads me actually to my next point, number 8. I hope it's number 8. There's a lot of different cuisines here. For example, where I stay, if you want Chinese food, you'll get it. If you want Kenyan food, you'll get it. If you want Nigerian food, you'll get it. If you want food from Thailand, you can get food from almost anywhere in the world, which, yeah, in Kenya you're going to struggle with that. A lot of the food will just be Kenyan, or you'll find Chinese food easily, or yeah, Italian food won't be popular. So yeah, there isn't that many variety of cuisines, especially if you're outside Nairobi. If you're in Nairobi, then you have to be closer to the town center for you to get that variety of foods. Unlike here, where we're in Scotland, I'm in Dunfermline, but I can get still a very large variety of foods. If you're in London, it's even crazy. If you're in other towns, even Edinburgh, it's a lot more. But yeah, in Kenya, it's only in Nairobi and in certain areas in Nairobi where you can get such a variety of cuisines. But the moment you step outside of Nairobi, then it's technically flat. You'll just get the local foods, and the farthest stretch you can go to is Indian food. It's because let's say you go to Kisumu, there's good Indian food in Kisumu that I know, but I don't think you'd find Italian food in Kisumu. You'll have to go all the way to Malindi to get that, which is, how many kilometers is that? That's like, what, 1,000 kilometers. So you get that difference. While here, almost any food, I want French food, I can get it, So yeah, that's quite a difference, which I'd say works very well for the UK. So you can, if you love food, you can explore a lot. Moving on to number 9, which is something that I also love about the UK, is there's a lot of outdoor spaces. And yeah, like just from where we stay, there's so many places where you can just go and walk freely. They say Scotland has no trespassing rule, something like that. Basically, if there's any field of land where it's not fenced, you're free to go and just walk, hike, camp, do whatever, as long as you leave it clean, of course. But yeah, there's no restrictions on that. And while in Kenya, for starters, in Kenya you just can't walk aimlessly, because there's also like wild animals in some areas, and most of those places have also been fenced, so that already reduces the spaces where you will want to go to, let's say, just for a walk. Places you'd want to go for a hike, again, almost all of them are managed by the National Parks of Kenya, or the Forestry Board of Kenya. So again, those are restricted, or you have to pay to access them. Therefore, the spaces keep getting reduced. Even if you want to, let's say, go to Karura Forest, which is my favorite, again, you have to pay 100 shillings to get the access, which makes sense, because these places are still, they're protected because they're still natural, and, you don't want all the trees to be cut there, and then it creates all this environmental problem cycle. But comparing that to the UK, where there's so many spaces, public spaces, you can just go for a walk, and almost all of them are free. You want to go hiking in some mountain somewhere, 100% free. You can go walk there anytime you want. The only thing they get you at is the parking. So some parking can be expensive, some not so expensive. But yeah, if you use public transport, then pretty much anywhere you want to go for a walk is free, which is very good. And also the museums here are free. I've been to, I'd say, at least 10 museums so far, and all of them, I think only one, I think I only paid for one of them, but yeah, I think all the others were free. So yeah, that is good. So you really can't say that, oh, there's really nothing to do. Yeah, there's so many things to do. You just need to get out. sometimes in the bad weather, to brave yourself and go to find the interesting things to do. And finally, number 10, which is something personal just because I like cars. The cars here are newer, which is something you'll notice when you're driving around or even if you're in a bus. There's way more new cars here. Now, let me explain the context again. In Kenya, we import cars that are 8 years old, mostly from Japan, or if it's high-end cars like the Range Rovers, Jaguars, and the things like Ferraris, those will be imported mostly from the UK or Singapore. So therefore, most of these cars are 8 years older. It's rarely you'll find a car that is, let's say, in 2023. It's very rare to find someone driving a 2022 or even 2021 car. Maybe they work, unless they work for like the government. It's only the government that buys new cars, but pretty much everyone else buys all new cars which are 8 years older. But here it's different because there's so many new cars where you're like, when you see like, oh, there's a new Honda CRV. So in Kenya, a new Honda CRV is a 2016 year model, while here it's an actually 2023 year model. Importing cars in Kenya is usually very expensive because when you buy the car from Japan, then you add another like 35% tax, then you add the dealer's profit, and maybe the car needed to do some servicing and all that. So it really inflates the cost of cars. That's why people will avoid buying a brand new car. Let's go crazy, 2023 Range Rover Sport. I think in the UK it goes for, let's say, 150,000 pounds or 100,000 pounds, thereabouts. The same car, if you were to buy it in Kenya, it will cost at least 300,000 pounds. So yeah, that is almost double the cost. Therefore, yeah, the pricing of cars is very expensive, and that stretches all the way to also like budget cars. And also another thing is financing. It's very hard to get financing for a car in Kenya. So a lot of times people will just buy a car outright, save up enough cash and you buy it. And if you get financing, it's usually also very limiting. You'll have to give out like maybe 60% deposit, and then, or even let's say 30% deposit, but then you have to pay off the car within maximum of 2 years. Therefore, that puts a lot of pressure on you financially. So that's why I'd say maybe a car is still more of a luxury item in Kenya compared to here, where it's a tool that you need, especially considering winter is coming. It's something you really need to have to ease your movement, especially if, let's say, you work in a place that is quite a distance and there is no bus that services that route. And there you have it. Those are my 10, I hope they were 10. I'm assuming they were 10. But yeah, those were my 10 differences so far that I've noticed between Kenya and the UK after moving here. So that is a cumulative of all the months that I've been here. Those are the differences I've noticed. And yeah, maybe I'll make another video. Actually, I have another idea of almost a similar video, but now this will be more of like odd things that I've discovered in the UK. Let me give you an example. There's so many reality TV shows, and some of them are just next level. So yeah, things like that, which are very, I'd say, minute. But yeah, maybe I'll do another video about that. Until next time, see you in the next video.